What do we do?
Dance.
How does one become a Reverend Mother?
The Kwisatz Haderach is a form of power that our world has not yet seen.
I have another gift for you, Heracus.
You want to control people? You tell them a Messiah will come. He gave them something to hope for.
That's not hope!
We are Bene Gesserit. We don't hope, we plan.
Welcome back. My name is Kit.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, streaming Dune Prophecy for the last time. This is episode 6, the finale of season 1, The High-Handed Enemy.
They've got a really high hand.
I don't know what that means.
The High-Handed Enemy. We should say, by the way, Dune Prophecy was just greenlighted for season 2.
Fuck.
So if all you fans of Dune Prophecy, yay. Congrats.
Yay.
I'm happy for you guys.
Next season 2 will be 5 episodes
Yeah, right. I wonder if they'll keep it at a short, tight 6 episodes or if they'll actually
in a made-for-TV movie.
like, oh, this was successful enough to make a season. Maybe we'll actually make a full ass season.
Maybe we'll do a whole one.
Yeah. There's a thought.
What we're going to do, we're going to talk about our overall thoughts on the finale and then get into a scene-by-scene, play-by-play recap. You can see I've got my hat on bro style today because I'm about to get broy.
Ooh.
And then we've got some fun categories to talk about at the end. As always, our Spice Melange moments, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode, our burning truths, any kind of Easter eggs or lore, tidbits and bits, even though we don't know any. And then our Lisan al-Gaib, our favorite performance of the episode. Of
Spice
course,
Girl if you're nasty.
there we go. I was gonna toss it to you. I kind of blew right by you.
I'm gonna kick that door open every time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Spice Girl if you're nasty. So I'm really curious. By the way, if you're oh God, no more Streaming Things Dune Prophecy, don't worry. We're doing Severance. That's episode 3 will be available a
Great
few
show.
days after you listen to this. And also our Game of Thrones coverage is hopping up strong and nasty. We're reaching episode 9 of season 3 this Wednesday on patreon.com/streaming things.
Not a big episode.
Also, our coverage of Armageddon will be available on Patreon this week as well.
Ooh. Do you not
the
want to
movie.
close your eyes or fall asleep?
Yeah, you're not alone.
Come join us on Patreon.
You're not alone. If you like a bunch of inappropriate jokes that wouldn't fly anymore and explosions and science that doesn't match up with facts.
If you want to see Keith David drop the hard R word,
Whoa.
get ready. Different R.
Yeah, different.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you want to see
not-
Keith David drop a spicy R.
Yeah, it's
There we
not
go.
a hard one. Wrong word.
Armageddon 2.
Armageddon uncomfortable, am I right, guys? Yeah, all that's happening. But also, if you're not on the Discord and you're not on the Patreon, then you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So I'm going to tell you. We have decided, because we're doing extra bonus shows in 2025, starting in January, hot and ready. So what we're going to do,
Hot to
after
go.
much voting, much deliberation, Midnight Mass won the poll.
Woo!
But I thought of a way to please more people, especially me. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off January with a rewatch of Arcane. Patreon.com/streaming things only, baby. But that's only going to take 6 weeks because we're going to do it in acts. So episodes 1 through 3 will be the first episode, so on and so forth, which means starting in mid-February, we will start our rewatch of Midnight Mass, which is fun and amazing. And that'll take us through Easter, which will be like
Perfect.
thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do Firefly. So we're doing everything, baby. If you voted and you didn't win, you still won. The only people that are angry are the From voters. And that could still happen if maybe this is really successful show and we get tons of new patrons from doing this. We'll have even more. We'll just do this, baby. Right? And The Sopranos will replace Game of Thrones as like the deep, long show coverage once Game of Thrones is over. And you might be thinking, well, hey, that's like 10 months away. Hey, it's all we can think of, okay? To please everybody on a certain timeline. So just
We're getting there.
put that on your playlist for later.
Yeah,
Woke
we're
up this
getting there.
morning, got myself a gun. And if you haven't seen the show, that just sounds vaguely threatening without context. That's the song in the show. But right now, we're doing Dune Prophecy. Okay. We got to take them out. We got to take them out well.
Yep.
This is the finale. Andy, I'm curious what your thought. This was an 81-minute finale. This was a whole ass movie. We weren't warned. We weren't warned.
No.
I bet you were excited yesterday watching this alongside Armageddon, Severance, and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was a
81.
long
Let's
fucking
fucking
day.
go.
Yeah, thank
We
God.
warned you on Tuesday how long
Yeah,
it
I was
was.
afraid it was going to be too short.
You chose the. I even texted Andy on Tuesday. I didn't procrastinate for once, and this is great. And Andy was like, I'm going to do it.
I'm still doing it.
I was unmoved by this.
So I started my day with this because I felt like I needed to get it out of the way. As we know from the last episode, I kind of turned off on this show. I will say that the first half of this is actually pretty fucking good. There's early on, there's a sequence with Tula and someone else who
Nazir.
Nazir, who's trying to do a thing. And it's actually a pretty horrifying, awesome, like experiment gone wrong kind of thing. And I thought that was a pretty fire ass way to start. They didn't like immediately open with that, but it happens pretty quickly after the title sequence and stuff. I thought that was fucking fire. We get a few more like name dropped powers that I don't remember them bringing up before, but apparently matter to them. So I thought that was silly to do in the fucking finale. I was wildly disappointed with the payoff for Theodosia and her powers and what she was brought along for all along. I thought that they kind of wrote themselves into a corner and they were like, what the fuck do we do with this? I thought that some of the emotional beats that they were going for, they didn't all land, but some of them did. I particularly liked kind of the payoff of Valya and her past and present kind of coming together in this really cool, visually impressive moment. And we'll get to that later. I do think that this, as a finale for what it was pretty effective, but it was, if this was a show that I had been on board all along, I'm not sure that I would have been super happy with it. I don't know if it earned the hour 20 runtime that it had, but I thought it was a pretty decent episode.
Yeah, I would agree. Like last episode, as you mentioned, I was broken. The show broke me. I was so over it. I was so angry at the time. And I still am, honestly.
And we should say a lot of the Discord loved it. They were like Steve was watching their live watch and going, oh, they're going to be mad when they listen to our episode.
Yeah, because we do watch along parties on our Discord, patreon.com/streamingthings. And so I was in their watch along and everyone's kind of like, whoa, what? Oh, cool. And the whole time I'm sending Kit and Andy like, oh no, they love it. They're going to hate it. But this episode specifically, I think turned the show around enough. Like in a vacuum, I think this finale was a good enough finale to where, say, in 2 years when Dune Prophecy Season 2 comes out, I will probably watch at least the first episode because it's like, okay, I'm not really all on board with what you're doing, but I think everything going against you, you stuck the landing for the most part. There are definitely things in this episode that I think don't work. Again, I think the show suffers from the 6-episode runtime, like because there are emotional beats that feel unearned completely in this episode. Like pretty much everything with Haviko and Francesca is like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like we've seen young Francesca in flashbacks previously, but not adult Francesca. So this whole relationship thing is like, I guess you're just telling me that you guys love each other and it's not effective at all.
Yeah.
But some of the other things like Tula and Valya's whole thing, I think works. The show for me works best in flashbacks. I honestly think if the show was just about the sisterhood, like maybe it was sort of like Harry Potter Hogwarts, like all the action is just at Wallach 9 and it's these young women who are trying to vie for power for who's going to be the next Mother Superior. Because all of the young Valya, Tula, Kasha, Francesca, Dorothea stuff works for me. Like that stuff is so cool. Like the scene where they're all yelling choose at the Dorothea acolytes is one of the coolest scenes in the show for me. So, but the unfortunate thing is like a lot of the things in the present day with Haviko and like Kieran and all that stuff, like just does not work for me at all. And it's a shame. But all things considered, I do think this is a pretty good episode and a successful way to end a problematic season overall for me. I think they did a pretty good job with this episode.
We not using problematic in the typical internet sense.
Problematic in that there are things
It has
that
problems.
it has problems.
Sure.
Also, I want to apologize. We just did a great gift wrapping episode where the fiends sent us all gifts. Unwrapping. Thank you. And
Just us taping.
Great episode.
Welcome back. We're gonna tape some stuff. And we had a great time, and I laughed, and like my voice is kind of giving out, so I sound a little wheezy, I think. So I apologize for that.
Sound a little wheezy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Pippin wanted to hop in and make fun of you.
I just want to make sure, Daddy, you know you're a little shit. You're not a good podcaster, Daddy.
Baby.
I agree with you. I mostly really enjoyed this episode. I even text you guys like, hey, don't worry. It's pretty good, right? I don't like the ending. I knew immediately at the end that it was not a limited series. And I was really let down by that because I thought, okay, you've taken me through the muck and the mire. And now you're hanging me out to dry.
Cold War kids?
It's really deep. Thank you, Andy.
Pretty good.
It's a really deep cut. I don't know where that came from. Too many times. Yeah, I think that it's giving Rings of Power. It like started off strong and intriguing, and then just some egregious issues popped up, and then ended pretty.
The first season of Rings of Power.
Correct. And then ended pretty curiously. So I wouldn't be surprised if season 2 was like pretty strong. However, I do think Dune Prophecy is like different in the sense that there aren't any King Durans. There aren't any Galaddies. There's no characters where I'm like, oh, I got to know. I got to see. So like the character works.
They killed Mark Addy.
It's very similar. It's very similar plotting wise. And with some of the pacing issues, but also like not as strong of characters as Rings of Power had. So it's that the issues are kind of worse. It's interesting because I do think they made this show for hardcore Dune fans to fill in a lot of the lore. So when things like face dancers and things like that pop up, it's like, you know immediately what that is. And you're just excited to finally see it on screen. But at the same time, I think it's taken some liberties that would piss off, I would imagine, some hardcore Dune fans. So it's kind of like, who is this for?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the answer to that question other than that I know who it is not for. However, again, I really did think this is one of the stronger episodes of the series. Everything that they do well was on display in this episode. I really wanted like an extreme payoff, and we don't really get it. Because they're setting up for a season 2, but also like what payoff they did have was like, okay.
I think to your point, the payoff does enough to where if they are doing the second season, you're kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll dip my toes in to see where it's going.
My little piggies.
Yeah. It's pulling the carrot just enough in front of us to where we're still kind of like, okay, I do
more
want that
likely,
carrot.
I will say I am definitely not watching or covering this show, and the patrons will bully me.
Much like Rings of Power
And
season 1.
you'll inform me at a certain point. We are, in fact, and I'll get really sad and angry. That's probably how that's going to go. That's what I remember happens.
But then we had such a good time with Rings of Power season 2.
They were right. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that's how it's going to go. I'm still going to put my feet down.
It just occurred to me that Constantine got written out. he wasn't in the finale.
He was a little bit, wasn't he?
No, I don't think so.
Not at all.
I don't think if he was like very short. Like
He was in the treehouse jerking off, sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a space commander.
This show suffers from prequelitis. We didn't even talk about it, but when it's revealed that Desmond Hart is actually the lost son, the lost scion of Harkonnen and Atreides, that's an allusion to Paul, right? So, because Paul is half Atreides and half Harkonnen. It's the only other one of those that we know of. And he's like legendarily powerful. And so the implication is like every time they fuck, this happens. And that's dumb, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole point of Paul Atreides is that he's the product of thousands of years of selective breeding on the part of the sisterhood. Not that just that genetic line immediately propagates into some crazy shit.
Yeah, sprinkle a Harkonnen on top of an Atreides dish, and bam, you got some spice.
And literally. And I don't know enough about the Dune lore, as the emailers and reviewers keep pointing out, to really ask these questions intelligently. But I am curious, like, what are they getting at with the machine stuff on Arrakis? And are they implying that the Shai-Haluds are machines in some way? Are they implying that that's... Because there is no magic in this world. So I guess this Is that a thing, or are they just
So here's the thing:
being crazy here?
the big reveal when we find out that Desmond Hart has a thinking machine implant in his eye, and that's what's causing the trigger of the virus. And then you see that little flashback where it's not a Decepticon talking to him in the dark. It's just the Booba robot from Star Wars implanting the device, and then the camera pans over, and then there's a human who's like, good, the thing's working. I'm just saying, at the beginning of this whole series, we were like, thinking machines were actually tools of human beings.
And we got one of those really angry lore emails.
Fuck you guys, it's not how it was. Hashtag, we were right.
But I already knew we were right, because you can just Google that.
It was just kind of funny when I saw that.
Yeah.
Like, boom, baby.
It's also bizarre that like after all of that, the spooky robot eyes we've been seeing all along, it's like, oh no, that was just an out of focus light.
I like that. That was cool.
You like that?
I liked it.
Okay.
Because it's like, what's the mysticism here? There is no mysticism really in this universe, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cool like explanation for the nightmare.
I just thought we had an Ultron somewhere. You know what I mean?
I thought it was a little disappointing too, because I thought like it was going to be a big, important robot, but no, it was just a medical droid that was implanting the eye, which was kind of like, okay. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be more to it. Like maybe the human that we saw out of focus is like working for the big bad machine that does have eyes like that. So there's a little bit more of a parable there, but I don't know.
What if it's like googly eyes?
Oh, I would love that. It's just like a big Terminator looking robot, but with googly eyes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's just the Rock from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
You guys ready for the recap?
Let's do it.
Let's get into it and see if we can figure out what happened. Tula is being tortured by voices on Wallach 9.
Your child.
Do not follow Valya.
You should not have followed your sister.
She smells funny.
She's a fugly slut.
And we find out that her little crew, like Francesca,
Kasha,
and Tula, saw her kill Dorothea, right? And they tell her like the murder can pass a truth say on technicality, basically, because she did technically kill herself. So they're discussing how they're going to get away with this, right?
Like, let's test it out. Did you kill her?
One thing that I think is interesting, and they do it, I think, twice in this episode alone, is Tula is painted as the reluctant follower of Valya, especially when Valya really steps over the line. And I think that doesn't work because Tula is the only one that has killed 40 people.
Yeah.
And so when Dorothea dies, the fact that Tula is like, I think this is a bridge too far.
I kind of bought it.
Why?
Well, because
why would she be the most shocked of death?
Well, I don't think she's so much shocked that like, ooh, someone died. I think she's more shocked like she thought they were going into the sisterhood and they were going to be past that. Like, oh, we just killed all of the Atreides. We're going to make a future for ourselves that's new and good. Oh no, we're still doing the same thing. Like I didn't want to do that. I thought we were out of that lifestyle.
I think it could have been done better if they had Tula poison her love, Ori, post-coitus, sadly, right? Commit to that. Sorry, I jabarred you, or whatever. And walk out of the tent, and it's Valya standing there amidst the 40 dead bodies. Like she had, you know what I mean?
She did one.
Sure.
Valya did
Helped
the other
her in her
39.
more egregious thing.
I don't know. I really like that that was Tula that killed them all. That to me is more interesting and devastating. Like where if it was this Valya, it's just kind of like, yeah, I killed that people, but the whole point of Valya is that she manipulates everyone around her.
I guess. I think if you're painting Valya to be she's just Charlie Manson in this instance. Like, you know what I mean? She technically didn't even do anything.
I didn't tell you to kill all the Atreides. Holy shit, Tula.
You're wild, Tula. I don't know. I think I like that you like it. I just think it works better for her reluctance if she's like has not fully committed in the way that we've seen from her, you know?
I'm also coming from a place where Tula is my favorite character on the show.
I agree with
hands
you.
down.
She's great. And also incredible casting, like you've pointed out in the past. Like, but the young version looks like a young version of that actress.
Yeah.
Same with Valya.
Yeah.
But then we cut to Tula telling Valya that she's pregnant, right? And at first, there's an interesting thing where Valya at first thinks Ori forced himself on her. And Tula's like, no, it wasn't like that. And she wants to keep the baby. And Valya's like, okay, we'll raise it together, right? And she's like, well, what about the whole thing where the sisterhood makes you give up your baby? And she's like, we can do anything we want once I'm Mother Superior.
My
sisters.
new empire.
Rules for thee, not for me. That is the Valya way.
And then she says sisters above all. So Valya's never even been about that life. She's a greedy, ambitious person. She's not about the sisterhood the way that Raquella was, right?
She's about
me
herself.
and you, Tula. Me and you, Tula, but really especially me.
Yeah, she
It's
left out
me,
the hood.
capital Me, lowercase u, together, baby.
And then like strike through sisterhood. That's what I'm about.
Sisters. And we cut to Tula and the doc from the Suk school, Nazir, discuss the big mystery power of Desmond's and, how Kasha was a master of Prana Bendu and that's why she lived as long as she did or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
what the fuck is Prana Bindu?
Well, we'll talk about that in our Burning Truths.
Okay. Have we heard of this up to this point?
Yeah. Steve's talked about it in relation to, like when we do our Dune coverage and stuff. I know that Prana Bendu exists in the weirding way, the way that they fight, stuff like that. We've discussed that in the past, but they talk about how, it's fear. That's what the virus is feeding off of. Because again, the biggest, corniest thing that this show does is that fear is a literal mind killer. It's a bioweapon. That's his power, right? And they're like, okay, so who did this to Desmond Hart? Who gave him this power? So they have a plan that they can perhaps transmute it, right? Poison transmutation or something, as Paul explains in Dune Part 2, that sisters learn at a young age, right? So if they can transmute this bioweapon, they could produce an antiviral. And the doctor is like, hey, I've had the nightmare too. Let me try it. This is dangerous. My medical training will give me the edge, Tula. I don't want you to do this. And Tula's like, okay, good. I was hoping you'd say that. So we cut to Nazir transmuting, and they've got they do this visual thing where they've got some of the bio juice in these boxes.
I did not understand
It's
the
just
visualization of it, like what it was supposed to be.
It's
It's
just
either black or white, man. If it's getting more black, then it's bad.
and it's like,
But why 3 boxes?
it just looks cool. It's like it's the strings on the air conditioner in Dogma.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's what whenever I see something like this, I think about Kevin Smith's audio commentary to Dogma, where he explains why he put strings on the air conditioning vent in Dogma. You know, the line where it's like, no exquisite sin greater than its central air. And he's like, people are dumb. So you just got to do stuff like this when they're watching movies. And I disagree. I think he's wrong. I think when you trust your audience, amazing things happen and you get to have that joy of discovering and realizing something and getting excited. But so he's like, I wanted to be extra clear that there was fucking air coming out of those vents. So I put strings on them so that they would move when the wind blew. That's what this is. It's like it's just a visual cue that things are turning the wrong way.
Yeah, because if someone's having an internal battle within themselves against some sort of illness or darkness, how do you visualize that in a medical setting? That because I feel like they're trying to, because it's Dune, everything that's magical and mystical usually has some sort of nugget of scientific background to it. And this is them trying to
But
play
it doesn't
into
make
that.
sense that they've isolated that virus in those boxes. Where do they even get that? What is that?
Right, and that's the thing that I'm having is I understand wanting to have a visualization and wanting to keep it in this setting. I respect why you would want to do that. I totally am on board.
I think they could
I just don't
have-
know if the visualization they chose was necessarily effective.
They could have done what they've done before, which is cut to the magic school bus in the body cellular level
Miss
stuff.
Frizzle,
Yeah. Come on, the magic school bus.
Spike is in there, that little chameleon.
Exactly. Do all that at the cellular level and see it changing colors and fighting and stuff. Cut to that ultra zoom. I don't know. I would have preferred that. But
I think it also right before this, they were talking about Kasha and they're like, oh, she was the master of that. So that's why she didn't die right away. So he didn't kill her across the universe. She just had severe diarrhea and managed to hold it in until she got home.
I think that's what they were implying by saying that. That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
But
he was trying to kill her way sooner.
Yeah. She's held it in for a while.
I'm fine.
I'm prairie
I
dogging.
can make it home.
Photo finish.
Anyone who wakes up and is like, I should probably go to work, but I'm not feeling great, knows what this feeling is.
Call Mr. Milchek. Got a stomach bug.
Oh, your Annie's going to be so sad to miss the day.
But the virus is no longer dormant. It starts to fight back. The doctor starts to burn, and then she fights it off, and then she starts to burn even harder. And she says,
They're watching him.
the monster of Arrakis. The eyes. And then she burns.
It's not human.
We cut to Desmond is having his Power Rangers torture Kieran. He wants to know about the sisterhood
Their
collaboration.
method of torture, I was laughing so hard. They're just like
bouncing him off
the wall. And he's got like,
Stop it!
blood coming out of his nose and he's all marked up. And I'm like, what is, ew, stop it.
And they're like, quit hitting yourself.
It looks so unthreatening.
Quit hitting yourself.
Like, it's more annoying that you're making me do this than painful.
And we talk about, he says basically, I'm not going to snitch, even though I do hate the sisterhood and the Harkonnens. And he tells the story of how amongst the Atreides clan, what Tula did to Ori on that camping trip and all of his buddies.
There's a monster who lived among the people.
It's like a bedtime story. It's a legend amongst his people, like how evil the Harkonnens are.
He's all about that DTA lifestyle. Don't trust anyone.
That's right. So he's like, I've got no love for the Harkonnens, but I hate you and your emperor, right? And Desmond's like, ooh, that's hard. That hurts.
Well, I think Kieran really has no idea that the sisterhood is involved at all. Like, because when he's asking, like, how are you involved with the sisterhood? He's like, dude, what?
Well, in this scene, doesn't Desmond tell him that he found the dress in the...
Yeah, Desmond tells him that,
and
but
so
like
he's kind of realizing
but still, Kieran's like, dude, fuck you. You bounce me against a wall all day. I'm not going to tell you shit.
Quit making me hit myself.
Maybe if you waterboard me, I'll do something. But like, this is not the way to go.
And then we cut to Natalia, the queen mom, catching Nez trying to bust out Kieran. And Nez just wants his life to be spared. So she's like, just let him go, banish him, whatever you got to do. And the twist there is that Natalia has her daughter arrested. She's fully committed at this point.
I wish you had told me sooner.
Let this be a lesson.
Yeah, forever. Now you're going to float here with your boy. How about that?
We all float over here.
Georgie.
Take the lesson that Kieran knows. DTA. Don't trust anyone.
Not DTF.
Not even, especially not the Queen of Centra.
Constantine got confused and he does DTF.
Yes, he does.
Valya finds out that Nez was arrested from Francesca. And she says, we have to act quickly, right? Because she still wants to install her sister queen. So that plan is still in motion. And she's like, nope, too late. Javico Carino's reign is over, says Valya. He's not going to be a pawn that we can use anymore. And she also says that he can't divorce. That's not going to be an option. And she tells Theodosia, we are going to free the princess. Time to change tactics, right? And Francesca's like, no, we can't kill Carino. He's the father of my son. And she says, you knew this day might come.
We skipped one tiny scene with Javico and Francesca where this is where they rode off Constantine. She says she's got to go now that Constantine's up in the spaceships.
Yeah.
So that's the only mention we get of him.
Yeah, and Javico's like, man, I'm going to miss banging you.
That's a good time.
Shit was great, dude.
Yeah, man. You should stay on Salusa. Natalia will be relieved of the charade.
Mm-hmm.
Charade. And it's like, dude, you are not reading the room at all.
It's that imprinting,
But then Francesca tells Valya, that's my baby daddy. I won't fuck him up.
Then we cut to the past, and it's Valya shows her whole crew the thinking machine that Raquel built, Anirul. And this is where they find Javico Carino as a paternal prospect for the person they're looking for.
Does she have any good games on this?
Any games on your phone? And Natalia Aret is the female prospect, right?
Behold, Beat Saber.
This is where that would be awesome on Anirul.
That was so cool.
Dude, you ever play Cyberpunk 2077 on Anirul? Graphics are crazy and there's no bugs. Kasha is assigned as Truthsayer, which we've already seen that happened in the future. And Francesca is meant to keep Javico occupied.
This was like the most like exposition scene where it's like, here are the 4 young sisters that we're going to follow throughout the story. And it's like, you are going to have the role that we see in the future. You are going to have the role that we see in the future.
Well, it's meant to be
that hunk up there with the hair is definitely going to keep all of it. And he's going to become member of Dune.
It's meant to be this satisfying reveal of how they've plotted this for so long, but like we already knew that, you know. So it didn't feel like
we should have gotten this in episode 2.
Yeah, or something.
If anything, all the scene did for me was like, oh, that's Francesca. Dude. They didn't cast them very well at all. They don't look at all like each other.
And then she already knows that Tula is pregnant with an Atreides baby. So she says, Anirul, show Tula what you showed me. And it's basically that Harkonnen and Atreides matches are wild, which is not, again, what we're supposed to take from the Paul Atreides story, I think. So this is a little silly. This is my opinion. It cuts back to present day. And they decide that the bioweapon that Desmond is doing is just a thinking machine on a nano. It's nanobot. It's what Marvel always comes up with as the explanation for magic.
Nanobots.
We don't want to show them taking off masks and putting them on. Let's just make the masks.
This machine exists in the quantum realm.
That's right. That's right.
It's some kind of quantum mania.
And Anirul's big solution is just kill him, bro. And Tula's like, no, I'll go to him. It's my son, right?
Let me go. And then Anna was like, go to him.
And Avila is walking through the halls, spilling tea everywhere, gossiping about how Tula has left Wallach 9. And Emmeline, who is like this devout Dorothea, hardcore zealot follower, hears that Tula is gone. So Lila wakes to her bonds, and Jen's like, it's for your own good, friend. I'm Irish. And she begs her to release her.
Couldn't you possibly just loosen some of these restraints?
I won't do that.
I'm not going to do
I've told you 3 times I can't do it.
But maybe if I ask you a 4th time.
Okay, you got me there.
Sedative.
And then she's untying her, and then she hits her with that Chekhov's sedative that we saw in the previous episode. Haviko goes to the Bashar about Nez being arrested. He's like, you can't arrest my daughter and shit. And he says that he's sending his queen on a tour of goodwill, right? That's what he tells Natalia. And Desmond's like, you just want your mistress, dude. And he calls him out as bullshit, because that's what a real bro would do.
Yeah.
It's like, by the way, I thought we were going to fuck this whole show.
I'm mad about it because I wanted to fuck you. And this bitch comes along in episode 5 and all of a sudden all that's done with.
I did the whole thing where I was vulnerable. My back was bleeding and you were supposed to slide in.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
You are a weak and inept guy.
That's right. You can't even see
I was giving you all the signals. The candles were lit in that room when you came in, my guy.
Why'd you think there was gay porn playing?
Yeah. We had Sting in the speakers playing.
We had Sting playing.
Steve? Sting?
Yeah.
What song?
I don't know.
Or the Police or his solo career?
His solo career.
Roxanne!
You don't have to put on a red light.
Yeah, and he's like, look, the sisters are behind it. You're going to bring the sisterhood back into this? You're fucking crazy, dude. I found a robe in that explosion. He's like, where's the robe? Oh, it was burnt. Psh, figures.
Convenient.
Right. And he tells Desmond, you are not my only advisor. And he says, you're choosing their counsel over mine, even though I burn people with my mind for you.
This seems very dumb for you to do.
Mm-hmm. It does. But he's like, I guess we're supposed to take that the imprint is like, with Francesca around, is like swaying him a little bit, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's pussy whipped.
And we got to.
He's putting the pussy on a pedestal.
He's putting a putty tat on a pedestal, Steve?
He's putting that putty tat on a pedestal.
We cut back to Emmeline. She assembles the crazy crew, the mean girls. They get the burn book. Everything's going good. Lila walks into their cone of silence. Straight up, like, I'm alive. And they're like, Mother Superior, right?
I'm back.
So it turns out she's actually Dorothea, though. Oh. And Sister Esther Kano, she's like, that's who I need. And they're like, who? Sister Avamar. What about Sister Jessie? Look, we don't know anybody that you're talking about, right? So the Butlerian sisters all disbanded after Dorothea's suicide. And she goes, suicide? You mean murder? Red rum. So now Jen is tied up. And she does a Vulcan double jointed move and busts out.
Murder.
Pops her thumbs out, right? So I'm going to call her Lilatea from now on because I'm clever.
That's what I did. I did the same thing. Lila Tea's coming in here.
Yeah, it's better than Dora Lila.
Yeah.
I love that she can meditate so hard that she breaks her thumbs or dislocates them. She's just like, yeah.
I honestly was a little confused what she did in that moment. She's like, I can't do it. I did it. Ow! But for that split second, I was kind of like, well, that's not super impressive. And she broke her hand. Oh, shit.
She should have degloved herself. That would have been cool.
Oh, God.
Ooh, that would have been fucked up.
That would have cranked this finale up.
She just like runs the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, guys, won't anyone help me? Her hands just
What do I
flopping
do with
around.
my hands?
Lila Tea goes and unlocks the Mother Superior files in the office. The Mentat sisters keep logs and the records of my faithful. And Jen walks in while she's doing that. And Emmeline is down with Dorothea, right?
Because Jen's like, hey, she's unstable. She's not herself. We got to take care of her. And then Emmeline's like, wait, are you Mother Dorothea?
Love your work.
Girl.
However, she can't find any records of her friends in like the logs, right? It's like, I told you your followers disbanded. They've been erased. And only the Mother Superior Valya could have done that. So she just erased all history of all the people who followed Dorothea. We cut to Valya, who plans to get arrested to bust out Nez. That's like, we get straight Ocean's 11.
I was just about to say, Ocean's 11 shit is in my notes. Yeah, they're doing the whole like, the Terry Bruckheimer like 360 cam. Like, all right, here's the plan.
Is that Jerry's cousin?
Well, I always do that. I do that every time. But yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's got that camera,
Yeah.
it's 360, and they're like, oh, Valya, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
You're going to hide in the cart. No, we're going to wheel you in.
Yeah.
Have these sweet sunglasses. Everybody's going to know who I am.
We got to break into Caesar's palace.
And she says how Sister Theodosia is unique, right? She was experimented on by Talaxan geneticists. And then I think this is the origin of the Gom Jabbar that we have for Havoko that they pull out, right?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Gom. I don't know if it's a Jabbar, but it's definitely a Gom. And it's metacyanide, sisterhood above all. So Francesca is seemingly willing to kill Havoko. And Theodosia is going to have to do, again, I think it was so strange. The last time we saw Theodosia, she was like turning into someone after she turned into Griffin.
I think she was just turning back to herself.
Yeah, but it's like, it's anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Like what she ultimately
episodes
does
ago.
is silly.
well, yeah, she just gave her a pep talk first, like, hey, I'm your brother, you can do it. That was the big reveal. Then she
That
did
was
nothing.
the big plan they needed her for. And everything else, she's just doing
They
that
just-
off the top of her head.
Yeah, they're just improving now.
It's wild. But
It's jazz, baby.
that's a face dancer dancing to jazz.
Yeah.
Havoko goes to Natalia and he's angry about Nez being arrested. He's like, you're going on tour. All right. You need to bust out your fucking guitar and just get the calluses back and do what you can do. And she's like, no, I'm not going to go. I told you I wasn't going to play anymore. I don't like those songs. And she's like, oh, he's like, no, you're going to do it. The people love it. She refuses to go. Desmond reveals himself. I've been fucking your wife because you wouldn't fuck me. And he's like, what?
And he's got his little Desmond pockets that are kind of like high up here. Here I come.
Yeah, I like that look. Plus, he's always got a knife in there.
I traded my tan jacket for a black one.
Now he's going to be a pawn emperor to their dual rule. And she says, and Natalia says, going forward, my counsel will not be ignored.
We got a
And
puppet
Havoko-
on the throne.
And
I'm the
Havoco's,
king. You're
he's
the
ju-
queen.
He's just like, because it cuts to him just like walking around real sad.
Oh, so here's the thing. So I was watching this with Erica, and we talked about this a lot because she was also like, that's a weird shot. He's just
Bummed.
bummed in the hallway. I think because if you look, there's a little bit of steam coming off of him as he first walks into frame.
As
in
a
this
bald
next
man,
shot.
I can tell you that happens, but go on.
Sure, but he looks a little out of it, as if he was like, no, I won't. And then I think did Desmond maybe give him a little taste,
Oh, a little Bernie burn?
a little Bernie burn, like, no, you're gonna fall in line, buddy, or
Oh, you
you
think
get a
they
little
just
something.
Or I will
Edited
cook
that
you.
out? Or
I don't know. I think maybe it's just like a implied threat. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too into the fact that he's bald and got some
Steaming?
steam coming off his head.
I didn't see the steam. I don't think they did a good job of conveying that he was like physically threatened by Desmond, if that is the case.
But he
that-
seems so like, oh, which I guess you could do when you find out that you're
wife's bone and your number one assassin.
who can burn you from the inside.
I think he's got
wait, did they reveal that at any point?
what?
Was that like, oh, we made out an episode or two ago?
I don't think
No.
they said that,
He
but
can
the
s-
fact that he's supporting
You can see
Natalia.
the writing on the walls.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, he
I
knows.
mean, he's like, oh, she got to him first. I wanted him.
Yeah, I was playing the long game. I should have played hard to get.
I was going to ask Desmond to be our third with Francesca.
Dang. But he doesn't like the sisterhood and he wouldn't go. So I had to play hard to get. But yeah, I think it works that he's just emotionally devastated by what just
Totally.
happened too, which is
Yeah.
why I read it that way. But I like the idea that he was a little cooked too. They were like, let him cook. But then he hears that the Mother Superior is there and he gets excited. Like, just who I needed. That crazy old bitch. I love her.
Oh, thank God you're here.
So Havoko goes to Mother Superior. She's on the throne. And
Jamie Lannister style.
but he's like so cool about it. He's like, what are you doing? It doesn't matter. I need your help.
Yeah.
You look good there, honestly, Queen. I need your help.
It's the only chair in here.
Yeah, I get it. And he tells her they want to make me their puppet. And she's like, you'll never be free, right? We've been shaping your path since before you were born. She tells him everything. You've sucked at everything your whole life. Everything that you've ever done was our decision.
He's like, I'm older than you. What are you talking about?
You're a dumb, weak bitch. And he's like, that hurts, right?
You've traded one puppet master for another.
But it's Francesca that hurts him the most because she's like, she doesn't like you, dude.
Do you think she loved you?
She faked every orgasm you've ever witnessed.
Every single one of them.
No, I got her at least once.
I can tell. Well, first off, that's a lie. And he says, arrest her, which is, of course, her plan.
And then they don't.
Why do the guards hesitate to arrest her? What is that supposed to be?
I think it's just insinuating that
They're scared of her, or?
No, I think it's insinuating that he is a weak and ineffective leader because she just laid down all this like dick swinging on it, and those guys heard it and they're like, whoa, really?
You actually do kind of suck.
Your dick game's weak?
You didn't make her come? You told us you made her come all the time.
All those stories you told. Bullshit.
Dude, we thought you were so cool.
Well, think again. Lila Tea, we cut to her. She goes to where she died, like by the little hot tub, and remembers what went down. And she tells the crew, like, this order was grown on blood-soaked roots. And then I don't know why there's a stack of crowbars there. It's not really good for the secret cavern. But she picks one of those up.
I don't understand the fucking crowbar.
Thank God we store these here right next to the gear.
And then later they give it to her like it's a fucking scepter that denotes her fucking power. It's like Gordon Freeman. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Gordon Freeman. Half-Life 3. Half-Life 3.
Oh, I didn't get the joke. But then, yeah, she like pops the drain on the hot tub. She's like, check this out. And then we cut to the past. Dorothea's weirdos, what I call them, they freak out as the Harkonnens show up. And this is right after Dorothea's death. And Valya says, some among you do not accept my leadership, right? So then I like that this is a reveal. Valya very quickly did teach her crew how to do the voice. So at least Francesca, Kasha, and Tula all know how to do the voice in addition to Valya. We just never see them do it in present day. Mm-hmm. And they go in the cone of silence.
I love how she activates it because she's like, we don't want people to know what's going on here or to hear the voice.
And they use the voice on them. Choose. And is it only Avila that decides to betray Dorothea?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Avila's the only one that was like, yeah, I'll do it, please.
I thought this was a cool reveal. Great scene in general, but also this is the kind of thing that you do with flashbacks and seeing the future before you see the past. And like the reveal that like, because Avila is so devout of a follower of Valya. And then with this context, though, it's like she's not. She's just terrified. And she has been for 30 years. So it's like, oh, no, we better Valya, that's the way she's actually been throughout the entire show. And I thought that was cool. You know?
Yeah, it's an amazing reveal. And it's also like a really cool reveal to show like how just ruthless Valya and the other three were. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that they found a way to get these sisters to kill themselves by using the voice.
And again, it's Tula that balks though, because she only does one choose.
Yeah. So choose.
But so what are they all doing? Like with the choice, it's like
you can either follow my leadership or you can follow Dorothea's example. And because Dorothea killed herself, that's what they think is that the choice is either follow Valya or like kill themselves.
Gotcha. And so all these people choose death over
following Valya.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because with the voice, they only have that binary choice.
Jizz.
They should have been like Tula, like trying to use the voice but can't do it right.
Sorry, but it's so scary when they're like getting in their faces doing that like yes, and some of them are like falling downstairs after they cut themselves, and
they do a
very
really cool
powerful
job
scene
with the like wiggly water when
that wiggly water looks dope.
Yeah, it's fucking cool,
like the little ripples and stuff.
Wiki. Haviko finds Franny in his living room. And he tells Franny to fuck off. He's like, I just found out you were faking everything. This is bullshit. And Fran's like, no, Valya wanted me to kill you. Here's the Jabbar. I'm not going to do it, though.
No,
I'm not going to do it.
I was coming.
I came a bunch. I love it.
Look, I got the weapon. I'm not going to use it now. Maybe I'll use it in a minute.
I'm going to leave it right here. It'll be fine.
Unloaded. It's unloaded.
He calls her a traitor. I didn't even cock it. And Nez, meanwhile, is hanging out with Kieran, just hanging up there. Like, what's up? And this isn't too bad. He's like, I know, right? It's like pretty relaxing.
They thought they were torturing me. They just been bouncing me around the wall.
Yeah, wait till they do that. It's so funny.
It's really fun.
Act like it hurts. And then Valya comes in and she uses the voice on one of the guards. And Theodosia kills the other two because she's bad.
So I always felt this way about myself, but this episode just sort of cemented it. Like, I live for Bene Gesserit using the voice on people because every time...
Oh, I love it.
Valya whips that voice out on someone. It's like, oh yeah, get him.
I love it. It's like that scene with Lady Jessica and Paul in the Harkonnen ship when they're taking him out to Arrakis. You know, when she's like, lower your bitch. Like, I love that shit, dude. I love that shit. But Theodosia looks like Nez now. So that's the plan. She's decided to don the skin of Nez. And she's like, you got to free Kieran too. And I'm not asking. That's my dude. Okay. Okay. And Valya's like, okay.
These are my terms.
You're complicating things.
So right now, the plan with Theo is you're going to pretend to be the princess.
Correct.
That's what we got.
Yeah, so we
To
can
buy them time.
Yeah. But also, what was their plan to get out? Because Kieran was pretty instrumental in them just getting to the next room of their escape.
Well, that's why, yeah, they didn't anticipate all that. It just kind of worked out. But like, that's why freeing him didn't.
Well, you know, I guess
Theodosia was going to hang there as Nez and then everything would look like it was. But with Kieran gone, the whole plan's fucked.
Well, let me walk that back. With Kieran gone, it isn't necessarily fucked because Valya could just go like, kill yourself, like all that shit. She just doesn't. I think this is a convenient way to A, get Kieran out of that situation and get some action. But B, it also saves that like really cool Valya moment towards the end where she just whips it out on everybody.
Damn.
It's awesome.
Look at it. Desmond and Natalia plot against the sisterhood. And they realize that getting arrested is part of her plan immediately. Like, the Mother Superior has been arrested. And Desmond's like, of course she did. Sound the alarm.
The alarm.
I laughed so hard at one of Desmond's deliveries. It had to have been like they had multiple takes of the scene, and I don't know why they chose this take because it's so overacted on Desmond's part. Because the guard comes in, I have to talk to you, sir, and then it cuts to a shot of him. He goes, "Speak," and it's so fucking much. I'm like, my guy, there had to be a cut where he's like, well, then speak, because like it wasn't the energy that he and Natalia were bringing. And then the guard comes in and he's like, hey man, I want to talk. It was just so much. Oh God, I replayed it like several times.
You're so funny. There's certain things you just latch onto and you're like, oh man, look at this guy, like the head bob and shit. This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
You know, Steve, there's something I need to get off my chest.
What's that, fella?
It's been weighing on me. You know that I resigned at the day job recently, right? And I've been a little scared. There's a family to worry about. There's health insurance. There's capitalism.
Sounds like a stressful time.
But we all carry around different stressors, big and small. And it feels better when you bring something to the light and keep them bottled up. It can start to affect us negatively. And therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. In my case, it's all of the stress, the misery, the fear. But I had to come over here and share that with you, and I felt better. You know, that's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Unloading all that on you and Erica and feeling better myself.
That sounds like my Friday night.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you're not vibing, that's completely fine. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
Hey there, all you ho-ho-hos. Happy holidays from every one of us over here at Streaming Things. During the holidays, it is incredibly important to look back and be thankful for all of the people in your life. And we here are so thankful for all of you for supporting and listening to the show. And we want to give a special shout out to our super patrons for the month of December 2024. We're closing the year off right. Let's shout them out. Thank you so much to Nice Guy Eddie, Albus Stinkpot, Maddlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Jim X, Lady Tarashly, Just Liz Calabria, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, E Scramo, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bloff Pum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Big Butt Horn, Jer Latanovich, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elbander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, Stanton Valentino, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving Mortal, Suzanne Road, Jadinklage Morgoon, Jen Robinson, Kloop, Kalisha Reeves, Paula Garcia, Brenda, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Stephen V, Casey McCain, and of course, Enza. Thank you all so much for supporting the show, and we hope you all have a happy holiday. Now let's get back to the episode.
But then we cut to them. They're freeing Kieran. The alarm is sounding. And then it's Theo Nez that stays behind. Kieran helps fight his way out. And Nez knows a shortcut to the suspensor car. Meanwhile, Desmond gets to the cells. And it's Theo Dead Guard.
That's the plan now, apparently.
Her whole thing, it's so funny to me. It's like a nothing thing.
What exactly happened here?
Because she stabs Hart and he's like, suspend her, because that's all they do to everybody.
He just like grabs her head and smacks it on the ground. Like, that really hurt.
Hang her up. That's what we do to people around here.
Yeah, I understand that Theo is the dead guard.
Sure.
And sisterhood above all and stab. Like, that's
Sure,
cool.
Sure.
But what happens to Theo after that? Because he gets stabbed and he's like, ow. Lock her up. Like, there was no like her trying to stab him more.
She like passed out. Yeah.
Why did she pass out?
He knocked her out.
Yeah.
Did he?
He like punches her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that was a situation of me like looking down real quick to write something and looking back up, being like, why is she fighting back?
I'm just like, what the fuck happened to the plan where she's going to pretend to be the princess for the next 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
Because
What the fuck's
Kieran
going
got
on?
busted out. That's all dead. And the alarm's already going off. So
She
she had
could
to
have
think
been
quick.
like, as the princess, like, oh my God, he escaped or something.
You know,
I
do
don't
that
know.
move specifically. It would have worked. I'm panicking.
This is her floating.
I'm a lady. Oh, okay.
It's just her not floating. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I told him not to go. Yeah, she could have thought more about that, huh? Or she could have actually killed him.
Yeah.
Instead of
Right.
stabbing his gallbladder. I don't even need this organ. We haven't needed this for 10,000 years, you fool.
Because he really was unbothered by this. Just, ow.
Casey's going to be impressed by that anatomy knowledge.
I did find out a couple days ago that we made I forget what show it was, but someone got stabbed in a similar position. And we were like, must have been the liver.
Stomach's on the left.
And all of our listeners were like, that's not where the liver is.
His liver's like in the back, right? Like
I don't know.
Back
Dude,
right
I
by
don't
the
know.
kidneys, I think.
I don't know. Everyone loves it when we get
I know
onto
mine was damaged
medical
severely
stuff.
by drugs,
Sure.
but I don't know where it is.
It's in your belly.
It's right here.
Havico pulls his blade on Franny. I'm going to cut you. And she's like, the imprint won't let you hurt me. You're embarrassing yourself. Stop. And they're like, he's panicking because his whole life has been a lie, right? And like, we're gonna handle this, you know, Franny. And he's like, how do you know that's not what she intended you do? She's always 5 moves ahead. You ever played chess with her? It's fucking frustrating. I don't know how to play. We do play checkers though, and she
beats me every time.
Every time she jumps me and kings herself. I hate it.
I hate it so much.
And I never get to be red. And he's like, you know, you've never known one true moment of freedom. Do you know how that feels, right? So then he stabs himself, Shakespearean style.
I'll fucking show her.
And she's like, no.
At least I can control this. Oh wait, maybe she planned this. She's always 5 moves ahead.
I do think how
you been.
I do
How
think
did she do this?
how he's feeling is fascinating. It's a cool idea. Like
Yeah.
his, you know, he's like, I'm a douche, you know, like I've never done anything cool. Like I thought I was a cool emperor. I'm just a pawn. Like it's
Now I'm gonna douche with autonomy. fuck this.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. It's a cool character idea. I don't know that it's executed perfectly, but I do think it's interesting. We cut to the crew. They're in a suspensor car. There's like a car chase now. Need to get to the spaceport.
Spaceport.
Suspensor car chase. Not really. And then Fran is crying over a dying Havico, and Natalia sneaks up and jabars Franny. Boop, boop.
I actually really like this death scene because it's just like and then she's dead like immediately.
And I also like
She
how
got jabarred.
Havico sees Natalia coming, and
He's like, this is fucking wild.
he's kind of like, man, he's gonna get. I wonder if that needle works. Did
Valya do this?
What
too?
if he had said, "Oh, you've got jabars"?
I like? It's kind of funny. Like,
spitting bar?
did Natalia know what that? I assume she knew what it was, but it's just kind of funny, like because it cuts back to her, and Francesca falls over, and Natalia's like, "Oh fuck,
that
Holy
works.
shit.
That shit's crazy.
oh my god!"
I would be careful with that if I was her. I'd
Yeah,
be scared
seriously.
to touch it.
I just wanted to scare her.
I know you're sleeping with my husband.
I was gonna poke her, make her go ow, but she's dead.
That's why I don't needle point.
And he grabs Natalia's dress, like the hem of it, and she goes, "No, the Emperor has been killed." So now it looks like the Sisterhood assassinated the Emperor. It's perfect. It's perfect. We cut to the sisters all watching the well drain. And at the bottom is all the skeletons of all the sisters that were missing, right? And Jen tells Avila to go get Tula, and she goes, "Tula isn't here. I spilled that tea in the hallway," and pushes her away. And Avila's like, "Yeah, these are my friends. Take your crowbar of doom." And they all break into the Anarul room, and she destroys the computer.
They got Fortnite in here. Let's go, sisters.
Season 6 is the worst one.
We're gonna land party it up in Anarul Town.
And then we cut to Tula, who's like on the bus, just like bobbing, like public transport. And she recalls having her baby. And she tells the baby, "You deserve the chance to find your own path." So she didn't want Valya to have the baby, which is why Desmond was given away. And Franny helped her find a mother who just had a stillborn to take the baby.
This thing's so funny. Where
I got it right here.
this is the worst.
Stillborn?
Yeah.
This is the
She
worst.
literally gives it to
Yeah,
her.
it's the worst pizza delivery ever. Where it's like, we got.
Tula's like, what the fuck?
This is dead.
I know. It's great.
Sorry, this one's cold. Was this delivered in 30 minutes or less? It's so awkward. Here's your dead baby.
Yeah. We cut to Harrow, worst reveal of all time. The bauble was a camera.
There's a liquid camera bauble.
What is this?
It looks like a little bit of some thinking machine technology that Desmond Hart is employing. Little sus of him.
I don't
Little
think it is. It's
hypocritical.
just a camera. It's not thinking.
Look, the line between a camera that knows when to turn on and capture voices and move around like that and be all sneaky.
I don't know, because Havico was playing videotape of Arrakis. I think like cameras and videos are like okay, apparently.
Yeah, I guess.
So he had put it on that rock portrait thing that we kept wondering what it was, right?
So now we know
But
that
I think
he
that
saw
was-
their whole plan about breaking out Nez and all that stuff.
This is just his one scene in this finale, right? Okay.
It's harrowing.
He's actually nice. He's so proud of himself. But this is just revealing that Harrow isn't really working with Valya.
He's not all the way sold, at least.
Yeah, and he's playing both sides of this little game, and also
Very Harkonnen of him.
Yeah. Do you think this bauble was something that they like stormed the rebellion people yet? Had they like taken all of them hostage when he gave this to Harrow? It had to have been because after the Landsrad, right?
Yeah, he gave it to him when he came in to apologize about asking the Emperor at the Landsrad.
Was this something that they recovered from all those dudes that were selling all that like high tech technology?
I don't know. That was before he went there, though.
I feel like
That's
there's
that's before he went to the black market that he gave him the bauble.
Sure, but I'm saying like he probably
Where did Desmond get it?
if he arrested all those dudes that were like they
It
had
was in their
showed selling,
pocket.
they probably.
He's like, oh, this one's pretty cool.
I guess.
I just think there's a connection of like there's a little bit of hypocrisy to this guy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he's literally a machine.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
As
yeah.
well.
Machine eyeball.
Yeah.
But Valya and the crew get to the spaceport. This scene is so funny. I'm sorry to keep harping on certain bad things that I find. I don't mean to be negative, but it is funny to me. So she has a contact to smuggle them off the planet, right? And she's like, I'm going to slow them down. You two get away. And Desmond and the Power Rangers show up. She fights with the voice. It's just the whole scene at the airport is funny because in short order, he's running around all bloody with a sword at a full sprint and shit. It's like, lay low. Dude, what kind of airport is this? No security at all. Like, this is super, like, you look sus running around with a sword bleeding, you know? But anyway, she fights him off with the voice and shit. It's dope. Kill yourself. Kill your buddy. Defend me. Take your pants down. Ha.
Spank his butt.
Oh, it's so funny.
Look at this wiener.
And
It's so cool though, like when she's like, defend, stay where you are, defend me. And the one guy's like, whoa, just immediately starts whipping around and killing people.
It is a fun payoff for the voice and like how powerful it can be.
as soon as Desmond shows up, he causes the whispery voices to occur in Valya. And she says, you say you've seen my end. Show me.
I wrote in my notes, he whispers the virus at her.
Yeah.
I did. He does virus things.
I said he whispers the fear to her.
And we get visions of like the thumper. She starts getting the rash. And I like that, he has to struggle. She's very powerful. They both collapse. Mm-hmm. It's an impasse. They would call that in chess, Steve.
Oh.
And
Thank you. How does one play chess?
We cut to old Valya.
Lankevel.
Young Valya.
Well,
At first
it's
she's
old
old.
Valya,
is
but
it?
in
Okay.
Lankavile.
And then it switches.
Yeah, she's walking in the snowstorm. Someone yells Valya. It's Griffin. She becomes young Valya.
That transition shot is fucking cool.
It's very good.
And it's like, hey, look how good our casting was.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah.
And then we get the whole swim. Meanwhile, back at the spaceport, Tula arrives. She gets off the bus as soon as everybody's trying to get out of there. She's like, oh, this airport's fucking wild.
Oh, is that Kieran and Nez?
Yeah, she immediately sees Nez and Kieran.
Whoa. Wow, Kieran looks just like his dad that I almost killed.
Dude, my notes fall apart here. They fight, kill them all.
Well, we hear the whisper voices too, like her foremothers are, your sister isn't here.
Go to your sister.
Go to find her. This is Valya's doing.
We're fickle because earlier we were telling you she sucked, but we changed our mind. She really needs your help, actually.
Kieran is just carrying the sword through the airport. They fight Power Rangers together because remember he trained Nez, and she's like, see what I've learned.
Not the best fight choreography.
No, about as good as their outfits on the enemies.
Honestly, yeah. This is we had a day to train this.
Yeah, we ran out of money.
Yeah.
Tula finds Valya and Desmond laying there. She drags Valya away, right? But Valya's like stuck in her hell fear hole. She's back with Griffin.
It's a machine.
Let go of your fears, Valya.
You did this. You killed me. You killed us all.
Says Griffin, right? It's right as she's like getting over the fear. That's when it comes in, right? Griffin says that nasty, hateful shit.
Because it's fighting her. She's fighting it like it's a person, but it's a machine. So like the more she fights against it, the stronger it gets. It's like giving her even more insane.
She saw that with Nazir.
Rocky 2.
Get up, Brock.
You cannot fight this battle with strength. The harder you fight, the faster you burn. And then she sees the worm. Don't eat the worm. And Desmond is still struggling too. I see the worm. It's coming. Let it come.
Yeah, she pulled a Theoden King on him.
Yep.
Let them come.
So it begins. And then, wait, wrong scene. And then POV,
mine.
The worm is coming. There's two thumpers. And then the two eyes are lights. As we talked about this earlier. Someone is strapped to a table. It's a POV of Desmond. The nanobots are being put on like the eye nerves.
They pluck his eyeball out and you see the fucking optical nerve and shit.
Yeah.
This was, as someone who's afraid of eye shit, was not a fan of this one.
Yeah, there's cones and rods and all
like,
kinds of shit
no.
going on.
No, don't do it.
How is his eye still open looking? I would be closing the other eye so hard, like, no.
And
Gets a little LASIK.
Yeah.
They fuck up a little bit on the pupil.
Yeah, you can see like a little slash.
Yeah.
And she says, I saw it, what they did to him. Who did? I didn't see that, but they're using a thinking machine. That's for season 2.
Correct, for season 2.
They put one inside him. His eye is the virus. He's their weapon.
Why does he whisper then?
And she goes to cut his eye out. Tula should 1,000% have let her do this.
Uh-huh.
Because that would have saved. She uses the voice on Valya, but it's like
that moment's really cool.
That
The
wouldn't-
idea of her using the voice on Valya is, I like that.
it wouldn't have killed him. He'd just been a one-eye guy.
Sure.
But now, he's being controlled by the machine. Should have let him. He's my son, right? And she was protecting him from her.
Me?
And Tula says, I could have broken your hold on the sisterhood at any time. We're the same, you and I. Two wolves. Remember that episode title?
Yeah.
Two wolves. That's us.
This our high-handed enemy.
Who want to feed with no care for the cost. And he's their victim. That's what she's saying,
Yeah,
right?
she said, like, if my son had the potential to be this amazing person, he deserved a better fate than we did. Clearly, it worked out.
But
And then Valya says, I will fight in the shade. It's like, okay.
well, there's like a reconciliation there. Please let me save him. I can resolve this threat. The reckoning is still upon us. If the shadows are where they want to fight, then that is where I shall go. The decision is yours. So she's going to go, be a sneaky bitch for the rest of the 10,000 years. This is like the formulation of that kind of thing, I guess. But yeah, there was also a 300 quote buried in there. And Desmond pushes Mommy away, then gives Mommy a hug and weeps. And the Power Rangers arrive and he's like, arrest her.
Where the fuck did they come from?
Don't worry, I'm just going to hang her up. It's what I do to everybody. No big deal. There's one of them looks like a dead guard hanging there. That's not what it looks like. I didn't suspend dead Carl.
No.
It's actually Theodosia.
Her name's, we think, Theodosia.
I don't have time to explain.
It's a lady? When she transports back.
And then we see a ship travel through a wormhole. And it's Kieran
That was a cool shot.
Valya and Nez arriving on Arrakis. The path to our enemy begins here. Dun, dun, dun.
The end.
And that's the end of season 1 of Dune Prophecy.
God damn right. Let's go back now. Let's do our Spice Melange moments, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. Andy, your number 3.
My number 3 is young Valya and her crew telling everyone to choose. And them all killing themselves. It was just a cool visual.
Goddamn right.
Fun use of the voice.
Steve?
My number 3 is Tula using the voice on Valya. To me, these two sisters, and specifically Tula, because I love that character, the not the animosity, but the conflict between the two of them has been boiling this whole season. Like Valya kind of taking her family and Tula to extremes that maybe they're not comfortable with. But Tula's been pretty ride or die her sister this whole time, and now she has a reason not to be. And so when she just uses the voice on Valya, you feel the as a fan of that character, I'm like, yeah, girl, get away from her. She's toxic. You're better than that. But then when Tula's like, hey, we're both two wolves, hungry and no matter the cost, like it makes so much sense for those characters. But I love that Valya herself is just so shocked and shooketh that her sister would betray her like that. And which is like, I wanted to raise that kid. What do you mean protect them from me? And it's like, well, you would have used that kid like you've used me and my family. And I thought that was like pretty powerful, and I like that part of it.
Yeah, that's a good read.
I mean, I agree that she should have just pluck that eye out. It's no big deal. But I like the drama of the interaction.
I get it.
between
Watching
the
your
two of
son get his eye plucked out, that's not cool. But
Yeah.
I'm saying like logically,
them. I
that's
don't
not
want
even
to
his
see
eye. That's robot
anyone's
eye.
plucked out. Like if I was
Yeah.
on the street, I'm like, what are you doing? Stop that.
Put it back.
What? It's Hitler's eye.
What's it doing in there? I smell. Oh, did you just take a sip of coffee or something?
Mhm.
That smelled so good. Fuck, dude.
Good shit.
My number 3 is Valya in the snowstorm when she becomes young Valya. I think it's pretty well done as far as like what her fear is and how to fight that. But just in general, the effects and how they visualized it was super cool. That's my number 3. Andy.
Wait, which one was yours just now?
Valya in the snowstorm
Okay.
on Lankavile.
Yeah, that's my number 2. Just the visuals are awesome. At some point they show like young Valya with all that black shit like blowing off of her and stuff. Like
It looked like Thanos
sometimes-
snapped her.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes the visual effects that they have in the show are fucking awesome. Like that and like the wormhole thing when the ship comes through. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't we get more of that when they were showing the random spaceships at random planets? You know what I mean? At least make it visually interesting. But yeah, the intercut of young Valya, old Valya, the shot where we transition from old to young was fucking awesome. Like it was so well done. And I replayed it a couple of times, and it's like this really quick, just like a bit of the black stuff like blasts in front of her face, and then it's the young Valya there. But it was just extremely effectively done. And I don't super love the, guiding voice of Tula being like, just let go of your fears, and it's just the fear and all that. But the emotional culmination of Valya, like, reconciling her past and present and like the fears that have been kind of shaping her, I think was really interesting, and it was a really visually effective scene.
That is also my number 2. As you said, very visually effective. It was kind of funny. This is one of those things, how like last episode we were kind of saying how they kind of midi-chlorians the fears, the mind killer speech.
Yeah, that's a good,
like,
that's a good metaphor.
The virus is the fear.
Yeah.
This whole visualization kind of leans into it, but in a way that I appreciate, because the way that you stand up to fear and you defeat the virus and you overcome it is like the rest of the fear is the mind killer quote. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing, only I will remain. And that was kind of a visualization of this entire passage, where she literally stands up to the fear and lets it come pass through her. And I like the visual connection that they put with Desmond, the whole story of him like standing up and letting a Shai Hulud swallow him. I just like the manifestation of like the Shai Hulud as the fear passing through her. It was a nice connective tissue between the two stories. And I think it sort of sold what they're doing here with this passage of fear being a midi-chlorian type thing. But it worked for me. And I like the visuals and how they worked it into the show.
You just made all that up, but I appreciate it.
Steve should be in the writer's room. My number 2 is the opener when Valya finds out she's pregnant and she does the sisters above all. I really like that. Like when we already knew this about her, but it's a good character moment because it reveals to us and also to Tula that she's not about that life, that she's hearkening through and through, specifically Valya through and through. And she's like, when I'm Mother Superior, I'm going to, and she's like, well, you can't do that. That's not the rules.
Oh, girl.
But also it was just, it's a cool like play on words too. And I like that.
I'm hankering for Harkonnens.
That's my number 2. Andy, your favorite moment of the finale of Dune Prophecy?
Mine is Nazir attempting to transmute the virus and burning.
Oh, that's a good scene. I should have picked that.
Yeah, I love the just conceptually in a movie when a good person tries to do a thing and it goes wrong, and it's just horrifying. So her like, I can do this. Oh my fucking God, I can't. I was just like, okay, here we fucking go. Like this show's turning around. I fucking love this.
That's so interesting. That was actually one of my least favorite scenes of the episode. Yeah.
No kidding.
Because when that happened in the beginning, I was like, here we go. They're doing more of the bullshit from last episode. Like almost, if they didn't name drop her name, Nazir, I would have written, "Oh no, her."
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't know who she was, but I thought that it was a fun death.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I like your passion.
Yeah.
My number 1 scene is the choose scene. We've talked about it a lot. Just very visually evocative and sinister, and I just love sister on sister hate crimes. So that's and just the turn that of Sister Avila was there. I saw on the internet for weeks that people would take photos of that younger actress saying, "Ooh, I bet that's Sister Avila." So that those people were proven right, and that was just kind of a cool reveal that Avila was, a Dorothea acolyte, and just was like, "I don't want to die, please don't kill me." So that's my number 1. Kit, you have to choose your number 1.
That is my choice as well. I think that scene is just really evocative, and it's kind of in a nutshell everything that is cool about this show, and it's something neat that we want to see more of. We get to see more of it, and we've talked ad nauseum about it already, but it is my favorite. It was the most impactful moment. It was during this moment where I was like, okay, we are cooking with this finale. Let us cook. I'm going to let them do it. Which brings us to our burning truths. Any kind of lore, tids and bits, or behind the scenes info, anything like that we have. Andy, do you have anything? Steve, throwing it to you.
All right. Well, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but Prana Bindu is a type of training. It's an ancient type of training with supreme control over the nerves and muscles. It's a cornerstone of Bene Gesserit training. And really it's what led to, so this Prana Bindu is the training that Paul took with the Fremen to create the Weirding Way, which is how why the Fremen are such good fighters when Paul kind of takes over, because they have sort of this Bene Gesserit control over their nerves and muscles that make them move a little quicker and more unpredictable to other fighters. So it's like, this is like the precursor to the Weirding Way.
It's how they're able to do poison transmutation. It's how they're able to do to choose the sex of their baby by like thinking about it. Boy,
Grow a wiener, grow a wiener.
Woman.
Girl wiener.
Grow a wiener.
Yeah,
Oh, grow a wiener.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying girl wiener.
This one's going to be fucked up.
We're doing something different this time.
Yeah, they're able to just control everything in their bodies. And that's what the Prana Bindu training does. You want to talk about the Teleusians? Teleusians?
I didn't have it written up.
So we've talked about it before, but it's the source of the face dancers, what Theodosia is. Prior to the Butlerian Jihad, it was like a planet called like Tula or something, which is like the sister's name, Tallulah. I don't know, something like that.
So I thought it was like Tlaxu or something.
It became that later, but like millennia later. But they were always fuckheads. Like it was a planet of a bunch of slaves, and they would like farm organs and stuff out of them. And so they've always been interested in biology. And so they invent what Theodosia is, which they literally surgically and genetically alter the muscles. And like there's a face, like what Theodosia is a human being with like hundreds of more bones and muscles than any other human, which is how she's able to turn into other people. But yeah, they're fuckheads. They just do a bunch of genetic experiments on people on that planet and stuff. And so she's the result of that. But that's what the Teleusians do, among many other gross things. Which brings us to our Lisan al-Gaib, our favorite performance of the finale.
Spice Girl if you're nasty.
I actually haven't chosen mine yet. Andy, who are you going to give it to? Kieran?
I am going to give it to Emma Canning, who played young Tula. I think that just the bits that we got of her facing down with her sister and making the choices with her baby and stuff. I didn't get the opportunity to give it to her because I wasn't here for the Two Wolves episode. But I think that this girl's been cooking in this series. Young Valya as a close second. I think that these two girls should have had all the screen time.
Yes, agreed.
They absolutely fucking crushed every time they were on. But this one, I got to give the nod to young Tula.
Steve?
That's my choice as well.
Really?
Yeah.
She's barely in it.
She's barely in it, but like she's super effective, I think. Young Valya is also, like you said, like a close number 2. It's just for whatever reason, I gravitate towards more of that character's performance.
Yeah, she's great.
I mean, Olivia Williams is also amazing, but she's in it less than even young Tula is, right? Out of all these characters that are either like sort of being played flat because of their near omniscient, premonition or what is it? Omniscience. Thank you. Like Emily Watson for most of the season is just being so omniscient in her delivery, where it's
you fucking nailed it that time.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm a thinking machine. but it's hard to like stand out when you're playing an omniscient character, right? Because you just kind of had like, I know everything, so nothing excites me. But like Olivia Williams and Emma Canning are like the heart and soul of the show, who are actually grappling with the morality of what the characters are dealing with.
Sure.
So that's why she is my pick.
I love that. I love that choice. I think I'm going to give the final Lisan al-Gaib award of this show to Jessica Barden, who plays young Valya.
Great choice.
You guys both mentioned her as well, but she's stunning, I think.
Stunning.
And I agree with you guys that I would have much preferred a young Valya, young Tula show for the most part. But it is what it is. We got what we got. Season 2 will happen probably a year and a half, 2 years from now. I hope you guys enjoyed our coverage of Dune Prophecy. I know we let a lot of people who really dug this show down, but we got to be honest. And hopefully you like and give a chance to our Severance coverage, our Game of Thrones coverage, Arcane coverage coming up soon. Woo. Very early January. So get excited for that. I know a lot of people are. You can email the show at any time at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. Find all of that content over at patreon.com/streamingthings. You get early ad-free episodes. You get video forms as well. You get the Game of Thrones stuff, the Arcane stuff, the Firefly stuff. All that shit's coming. At least 2 movies. A lot of people want us to talk about more movies. I wish that we could and did. We're going to try to bring Crossing Streams back as much as possible and stuff. People, the main core of the show just loves our TV breakdowns, and there's a lot of competition.
That's also how we get the most new listeners is TV show breakdowns. So.
Yeah. There's so many podcasts doing, hey, Sonic 3 just came out. Let's talk about there's so many of those. And we just focus on what we do well. Mm-hmm. So I just want to, I got a lot of those questions. So
it's going to be a new year, 2025.
It is.
A lot of exciting things happening this new year. So we're excited, and who knows what we're going to be doing. We're going to get in a lot of trouble, I imagine, the next couple months.
Yeah. But that's all the time we have for right now. My name is Kit.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Streaming Things, Streaming Dune Prophecy.
Happy streaming.
What you doing?